Okay, so hello everyone and welcome. We are very happy to bring you this webinar on experience design, optimizing human, digital, and physical experiences to launch effective innovations. I am very pleased to introduce today's speakers. First up, we have here with us today Ara Fernezian, who is an entrepreneur, author, and founder of Stratesis. Founded in 2018, Stratesis is a purpose-driven enabler, experience design, and strategic communications firm with driven creators and storytellers. The firm specializes in designing and producing experiences, content, and platforms, be it virtual, hybrid, or in person. Ara's purpose through Stratesis is to converge his own business experience, passion, and network by reimagining and reinventing how people connect, collaborate, learn, do business, and innovate so as to improve people's lives, empower youth, preserve the environment, and drive sustainable economic growth. And I'd also like to add that Ara is, of course, one of our MSIE graduates of cohort 3. I'm also very pleased to introduce today Dr. Etienne Krieger, who is not only affiliate professor here at HEC Paris, but also the academic advisor of the MSIE program. I'd also like to add that a recorded version of this webinar will be made available. Also, we'll be holding a Q&A at the end of the presentation, and we'd love to hear from you then. And now, Ara and Etienne, thank you both for being here today. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. It's always a pleasure to co-host such webinars with you and with Ara. And I have to tell that this idea came from Ara. It's always a pleasure to discuss about innovation topics with you. So a brief introduction before leaving you the floor, Ara. The structure of this webinar will be about an hour. The key part will be this experience sharing about experience design. And so a few words about you, your academic and professional background beyond what Cheryl already told about your firm.
Thank you, Etienne. Thank you, Cheryl. First of all, thank you for HEC to give me the opportunity here. And before I speak about my firm, I just really would like to give credit here to HEC. When I did my 2-year program on the MSIE, it was really an eye-opener for me to actually understand how to navigate my path. Because I was moving from a certain business environment and I already felt I know everything. Then I reach a kind of a plateau here, is that where I'm going to go next. So after learning from the program, it was really an eye-opener for me. And even not only to that, I met great people, Etienne, Cheryl, and all my colleagues, and who we worked together and made me understand how I can take my business to the next level. So yeah, I mean, my background comes, I'm into the events business. When I say events, we are into exhibition and conference business mainly. We did exhibitions, the largest exhibition company in the world. I used to lead their operation here in the Middle East. But we realized back in 2015 that there is a big shift in the way people, they see value. So values started to shift, people, they start to become more demanding, and their needs started to change. And our job was so difficult about how can we take an experience which is managed for only 2 days to make it year-long. So this is where everything started. And does it really need to have a shape? Does it need to be digital? Does it need to be in person? Does it need to be hybrid? Does it need to be anything? So this was an amazing experience for us, is that imagine you're putting another brain next to your brain, try to understand how the world is shaping and how can you actually make a difference in whatever you are actually producing. So this is my background mainly. And I wrote 2 books as well since then. One was about my journey with my burnout as an entrepreneur. And the second book, which I launched actually, I just received the print today. It is about more about having mindsets, habits, and skills to shape your thoughts and to improve your life. His name is Learn a Little About a Lot. So we'll discuss this maybe later, maybe another opportunity. Thank you, Etienne.
Thank you so much. You are definitely an inspiring person. Before presenting this experience design, just a few introductory words. Why innovating? It's not only a buzzword. It's simply an effective way to create some value and impact. And it's cheaper than direct competition because you differentiate. But to do so, you have to listen to your customers. You have to look at what they are doing well and not so good. And that's why you can innovate almost everywhere. And that's what Ara shows us. And so, of course, you have to do that. You have to segment a market. There is a worldwide industry for cars, but there are segments corresponding to different needs and different jobs to be done. And that leads us back to the courses and the research of my colleagues, Frédéric Iselin, for a given pain point, identifying early adopters, those who are yelling the most, those who are ready to pay the most and the fastest, and then to craft, to design a solution, creating a value, making us save time and money. And so there are lots of sources of innovation. Sometimes people who complain are an outstanding way to innovate, because you really have to solve the problem they have. I will not present all these elements, but there is probably one which is not so very well known and which is very demanding, and that is this experience design. And so let's start now with a quiz prepared by Ara to understand what's your level of understanding of this new tool and this new mindset. So I will stop sharing the screen. Thank you, Cheryl.
And I guess we'll give it a little more than a minute, maybe 2 minutes, because there are quite a few questions. So I'll let you know as we progress.
Yeah. So the first one is, what is experience design?
Only 11% have participated, so we'll give it a bit longer.
Just to check, Cheryl, if everybody is seeing the survey, making sure that,
Yeah.
because I'm not seeing it on my screen myself.
As a co-host, we cannot answer because that would bias. I see.
No.
I only see the answers. Yeah.
Yeah. Just want to see the answers. Yeah. Just to make sure.
Yeah.
30% have participated. 50%, so we're getting up there.
Okay, that's already a good sample. So, Ara,
would you
mind stopping the questionnaire?
70%, I'll stop, Etienne, yeah?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, and I'm going to share the results if everyone can see. And I can also share the correct responses. Ara, if you'd like me to. Yeah.
Etienne, are you able to see the results?
I see them. I
I'm
don't
not able
know
to see it myself.
if you see them. Otherwise, I can share the screen. No, Cheryl, can you?
Let me see
Can
if
you
I
share the
can
results with us?
share. It may be a bit messy. Let's see. If I do that, can you all see?
Yeah.
Yeah, but not the results for the moment.
Ah,
We just see a Zoom.
okay.
A Zoom
Let me see.
screen.
No, so it won't show the results themselves. Can everyone just let me know if you see the results on your end?
Yeah, we can see them.
Okay.
Yeah, it comes out. It comes out.
Thank you.
Zoom has an option to click on result polls. Maybe if you click on polls, then results show up for you.
On the bottom of your screen, Ara, you can see polls. Or maybe it's in more. You have to click on.
Yes.
Where did you see?
On the bottom, between participants and discussion, there is a feature called polls, in French, sondage. If you have
not in my site.
Let me see.
It's fine. I mean, Etienne, if you just can tell us what are the results, so it can give me.
So the first question, what is experience design? It's a bit, it's fairly balanced between focusing on moments of engagement and focusing on engaging user satisfaction. And so I think the correct answers was focusing on moments of engagement, but in this case there were 46% of people who answered that it was enhancing user satisfaction. The second question was more about the difference between product-centered and human-centered, and here we had fortunately a huge majority of people saying it's human-centered, 98%. The experience design format, so there is also a majority, 96% saying that it can be physical, digital, or hybrid. It's not mainly digital. Of course, it could apply to everything. Here we had a multiple choice questionnaire about what's the approach of experience design, and it's about solving a problem, eliciting a positive emotional response. It's less transactional. There is also a 70% majority of people saying that it drives usage and behavior, and a small majority of 56% of people saying it helps companies activate their brands and communities. And the next question about user experience and user design, are they both the same? People said to 84% that it's no, and the correct answer prepared by Ara was it's the same. So it's the same thing. The sixth question was about is an approach that can be applied mainly to online experience, and no, it's also a huge majority applied to designing any experience, from designing innovative new product to developing and marketing new solutions. Also here, a huge majority of experience design focuses on how the experience improves people's life, how it creates value, how it can prompt certain emotions. And we also had a huge majority, Ara, of 86% of people telling that it was this point. And so that's it. And if we go back because if we go back to your slides, if you mind, Ara, so let's share them, but if you want to comment directly, and if you want to stop the slide.
Okay, so before, thank you so much, Etienne. Thank you, everybody. Sorry, I couldn't see it for some technical glitch. As you know, like the online experience, it needs a lot of improvement. This is why, yes. I guess.
Even Zoom that thrived on this online experience, but there is always room for improvement.
There is something that everyone says, and when we do a lot of survey on that, is that everybody likes the online experience, but they said there should be more. So I think this is what Metaverse is going to be the next generation of the online experience, is that how actually we will all better engage and interact together and do more things rather than showing slides and doing polling and stuff. So
first thing, you believe in Metaverse.
It's not a matter of believing in Metaverse. Yeah. It's a matter of it's a normal progression of technology. So, you know, like when Web 1.0 was launched, it was mainly information-based internet. Web 2.0, which we are mostly used to, is more, there is more like e-commerce integrated. And I think the Web 3.0, which is now we are experiencing it, and where blockchain and the Metaverse will all come together, I guess, it's where how we will enhance this engagement together, going beyond the transaction. So we create more value to the user. So whether it's going to be with goggles or no, we don't know. Technology is like going very fast. It's very, very difficult to any one of us assume anything at this stage. So let's come back now on our point. It's, in my view, and based on my experience, people buy experiences and stories, but they don't buy products. Otherwise, if they buy products, what's the difference between buying shoes and buying Nike? So Nike, it gives you a different story to yourself. It makes you more, let's say, this is why they pay millions of dollars to top athletes to connect with the brand. So they give this emotional sentiment when you're buying the product. So this is why sneakers is one thing, but buying a Nike, it's a brand, it's a story. So this is what, in brief, which I wanted to tell you on this particular point. I will try to be as much brief as possible to allow more questions, as I agreed with Etienne on our presentation. If you allow on the second slide, please. So I'll give you a very quick description about what we do. So we at Stratasys, we create a positive impact through human-centered experiences. This is what we do for a living. And it took me myself actually 3-4 years to understand what actually this means. It's a bit weird. Things are shaping very fast. And I wanted to create a business that doesn't have a shape. Because of, if you define yourself with a shape, you get lost because things are evolving very fast. And I wanted something so agile that it can actually match, whether it's a tangible product or whether it is a service, whether it is an online business. I just needed to make sure that this experience delivering to whatever the product is. So we founded the business in 2018, and today we believe we are more of purpose-driven designers. We just want to design experiences for sake of designing. We want to make an impact, improve people's lives, and I will explain more about that. So we're in business. We have entrepreneurs, storytellers, and producers. Storytellers because we produce content as well, and entrepreneurs because, you know, we believe in an entrepreneurship mindset, not in an employee mindset. So we focus more on a human-centered experiences. We build community platforms, forums, innovation, entrepreneurship programs to youth empowerment initiatives. So it depends on our customers and depends on their needs, actually. So we do a lot of consultancy work and we do production as well. So our purpose, as was mentioned earlier, is to reinvent and reimagine how people connect with brands, with ideas, with technologies, with knowledge and each other, whether it's virtual, hybrid, or in person, to create a positive and lasting impact, to create a better future for people and planet. I mean, just think about this content today, what we're doing, we're connecting HSA, which is members. So this is a kind of an activation that includes me and Etienne being the content and whatever we're creating. So we are the experience that we are offering today, where HSA is bringing his community together to give them some experience. Sometimes the technology gives us a better access, but sometimes it could be a handicap to give you a much more lively experience to all of you. So we move on the next slide. So what is experience design? So experience design, this is quite a very brief, it's a bit complex when you look at it from the outside. You say, what is an experience? Experience could be anything, right? So, but let's deep dive it more from a design aspect. So design is a method used by designers. And when we say designers, I don't mean an architect. I don't mean a painter. A scientist thinks like a scientist as well. So everything based on hypothesis, insights, you study it, you review it, you test it until you reach the ultimate goal. So, and the ultimate objective of the design, regardless what design you work in, is to solve a complex problem or a problem and find the desirable outcomes to your customers or whoever you are serving. So what is experience design here? So experience design is a holistic approach and goes beyond technology. This is something that I just want to mention. We know a lot about user experience, UX. Experience design, XD, is something else. This is why when I asked the question whether user experience and experience design is the same, actually, they are kind of the same, but the experience design is more holistic. User experience is more technology driven, but the experience design is way much more holistic and goes beyond technology. So it's human-centered mainly, behavior focused and data driven. So a practice that focuses on identifying the needs of the users to create an impactful solutions. So the humans that you are working with, it is actually the ultimate focus on that. So I'm seeing an answer here and saying no is actually, is you're right. I should have said no on that because it's no but. Because it's not a definitive no. But yes, it's true. If I'm going to take it to its ultimate, no, it's not the same, but user experience is part of experience design, if you think about it. So these experiences could be actually anything from digital, physical, or hybrid. It could be innovative new products and services, in-flight experience, new learning method, to space usage, I mean, if you have a certain space, to new forms of transportation, meetings, learning. Today, for example, in universities and schools, they are learning how to improve the experience between education and students because there are new forms of engagements are transforming around the world. And even workplace policies, as you can see, every employer now, they want to improve the way they engage with their employees, and they're creating a different setup of an office environment to increase their productivity and on top of that, their happiness level and reduce a lot their burnout in the office. So things are shifting a lot. And then, yes, there is transactional services as well. And you can go up to concerts, customer support. So as you can see here in this last third point, that experience design can be used to ultimately anything. This is because this is a way of thinking, right? So once this way of thinking, you integrate it in your work, you can actually use it to almost anything. And I will explain more about what do I mean with this one.
Just a quick ratio, Ara. I heard that the ratio in the software industry is now 1 designer for 2 programmers, and so it's a huge trend, but it's far beyond what you are telling than UX. But it's a huge trend.
Yes, that's true. So here I just did a small description here, the difference in user experience and UX design. So the scope might be narrower, a screen, an app, web page, and the future could be metaverse. So actually, I don't know. And the question here, whether in the future this both experience design and technology will emerge, I really don't know. And nobody has answers to the way things are evolving. But as of today, experience design goes beyond technology as it involves physical space, human-to-human experience, emotions, communication, and culture. See, emotions is something extremely important. And this is something like I learned as well in HSA is that, you know, when people, they shift products, emotion plays an important role, because here there is something, a trade-off that you are going to make between this emotional drain about changing a product that you're used to into going to another one. So here comes about how the competitor can create a new experience that you can actually avoid this, this emotional transition between shifting products. So on the next slide, so this is how the process works. At least this is the way we do it. Definitely, as Etienne said, there are other ways of how design can be, experience design can be processed, but from company to company could vary a lot. There is a lot of base here on design thinking. I myself is inspired a lot with IDEO, the way they work. And IDEO is a great example. If you go to their website, you will realize about they actually work in various type of experiences, and you can see from products to experiences to brands, whatever you call it. So the way it works, actually, it's very, very similar in a way or another. To build a process, even if you build a business, first of all, you need to define your users, understand who they are, and you need to empathize with their needs. So what does this mean? Empathizing with the users and defining them is the core of the business. This is where the human-centered, when they say, this is what we are talking about. Because when you don't feel about the needs of the people you're trying to solve their problems and what kind of solution you want to bring in, this is where most companies, they fail. Why? Because some of them are driven by their ego, saying that this is my idea, I want to do it. Some of them could be lack of knowledge. Some of them could be they're not patient. They just want to do things very fast because they think that everything, you know, the FOMO thing, like people, they think like, if I don't do it now, I'll lose later. I think there is, the FOMO is in our mind. The markets keep evolving. Every product on earth can be improved. So if you think that there is nothing to improve, you're wrong. Even Amazon, if somebody can find an area where you can improve it, you can as well. Even Jeff Bezos himself said that. So, so first of all, we start by defining our user. First, before we define the experience, we don't say anything to our customers. We start with what is the problem that you want to solve. Okay, so this is why we spend a lot of time defining the user's needs, not what they want, what they need. It's a big difference. What they want is my job. What they need, I need to understand, it comes usually from them. And here you need to have certain skill in interviewing people and certain skill into putting the right questions in place and having an active listening skill that you should have in you. Once you do this exercise, then you need to have some analytical skills. Again, we don't want to be biased with what we know. We just want to be okay with us being wrong. We just be open up to the new learning phase. And here we need to frame the challenge. So what is the challenge that we're trying, that we identified so far in simple words? Something that you can say it in 30 seconds. If you cannot frame the challenge as simple as possible, you actually don't understand the problem well. Once you frame the challenge, now we need to sit together with the team and everybody involved to ideate the solution. This ideation of the solution here and this entire process either can be done fully internally, but my advice, when you do it, make it open. So this is what is called the open innovation culture versus the closed innovation culture. Why? Because most people, they are afraid to open up to the outside world, whether they are your suppliers, your employees, your customers, anyone in your value chain. To discuss with them and to work with them in order to understand the problem well and involve them throughout the process. This kind of processes cannot be done internally. It doesn't work actually, because you will end up being the only customer for your product. So we just want to make sure that we're solving people's problem here. Once we ideate the solution, we move into the prototyping stage. So this is what I call it between the prototyping and the testing. This is where we work like scientists, which is we build a hypothesis and then we keep challenging the hypothesis until we come up with a solution. And let me tell you, this hypothesis, it keeps on. This, what you see in here, it doesn't stop actually. Every time you try to solve a problem, you end up that there is something more you can do. And this is where the beauty of the experience design is that it's live. It doesn't end. It's a journey. So this, I can do it to my current business now, and I can always find the better ways to do it. So this is why it's so important that every 6-7 months, 1 year, you keep shaping it. The world is moving so fast that you cannot put a plan in January and you go back into next January and say, this is my business. Actually, it doesn't work like this anymore. Yes, your vision can be clear, what you want to do, but how to get there, I think you need to keep iterating, redefining, and learning. So this is how you build the experience design as a process. And it varies whether it is a product you're creating, whether it is a service, regardless the type of customers you're working with. So I'll come to all the questions later. I'll try to finish.
What's the challenge, Ara? Processing empathy, it seems more to be a mindset, but it also requires some skills and even data. There are already some questions in the discussion thread, but it seems to be a kind of oxymoron to process empathy because you need to be caring, but you also need some specific processes, and you will tell a bit more about that, of course.
I mean, let me give you here an example on this one. We were working on a project. How do we improve the lives of 70-year-olds to cope with this digital transformation? Okay. The question here is about the type of questions I can ask to allow them to open up to me and talk to me, and what information I can gather with this. So if you do not empathize with them, try to really use your heart in this process, it will not work. Why? Because let's say, I mean, I had a kind of wrong beliefs that because of my family members that they like to send messages. Then I realized, no, I actually don't like to send messages. They hate to send messages. They prefer videos or voice because the screen is too small and even to type is difficult for them. But I tell them, why do you do it? Because they tell me because of a matter of respect, because I send text, they reply by text. So they said, so next time I understood that I should use more voice. And I understand as well, there is another issue as well, that every time they need to download a new app, they need to go to their neighbors, to their family members to help them download the app. Although they want autonomy, that they don't want to talk to anybody to do it because they feel embarrassed to do it. So those kind of needs, it's human needs. So your solution should come on that, right? It shouldn't come based on what we believe, because I'm a tech guy, I should think like techies, and I shouldn't bother about something else. So I'll come back here on the process side. So experience design, it involves actually everybody. So whether it's internal or external, everybody has to be there. But from a company to company, it varies. And so some companies, they are way much more open. Some companies are not. And this is all the people that they need to be involved. I think this is something you can add and remove whatever you want. In experience design, there is nothing called it's craft in stone. You can shape it the way the product that you're working on. So this is the beauty of experience, because it does not have a particular shape, but I love that it has a process. Okay.
Thank you. We saw that if you take a look at the discussion thread, there is a very lively discussion, and I was, of course, provoking you, summarizing the fact that experience design was about processing empathy. It's like for my PhD, I tried to measure trust, and of course, you lose the essential thing. So it's a mindset, but it also requires some processes to fuel this mindset.
Yeah, the process, for example, here on the way you do the questionnaires, for example, how you build a questionnaire, how you are going to analyze data, what is the right amount of data that we need to use, what if I have a lot of information. So here, when it comes to process, you need to deep dive on some verticals now. So empathy is a very horizontal process, but on the vertical side, so let's talk on critical reasoning. Let's talk on data analytics. Let's talk on some behavioral trends. So everything has a process eventually. everything. But it depends what you want to use. It is the question here. It is where the challenge that comes in the process. But definitely, if there is no empathy involved, I think your answers will not be 100% correct. So I did an example here for you to show a little bit more what IDEO did for an industrial leader. So I just wanted to show you an experience moving away from platforms and so on to go directly to a big industry leader to show that how IDEO actually could help them change the employee's mindset to become more design thinking driven with the way the process is built. And here is a video here, a 4-minute video, Etienne, if we can.
I don't know
Just
if
if you want to click on it, I think it should open.
I'm not sure. Oh yeah, just have a look. Oh, I have to connect. Oh, sorry. I think it may be tedious for me. Let me see. Yeah. Otherwise, you will have to summarize it. But again, there is a very lively discussion. Well, I think I will. No, I have to pay to subscribe to Vimeo, and so I think. It's...
Okay, so let me say, let me share my screen here, and I will do it from my side.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yes, also please share the sound.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to be faster and better at innovation than our competition. Most of our markets have shifted step by step towards Asia in the past 15 years. And therefore, we need to expand constantly in that region whilst maintaining a healthy balance in America and in Europe. When we started to work with IDEO, we saw that the first order of the day was to visit customers first and not try to develop products first and then explain to customers how good they are.
So ever since we began working with IDEO, we have been on a journey of cultural changes and cultural long-term changes. There is definitely increasing awareness for customer needs and pains, and also an openness for new or groundbreaking ideas. We are not anymore looking at a challenge from a technical perspective, but now also from a customer and user point of view.
Over the last decade, GF and IDEO have partnered on more than 10 projects across 3 divisions: piping systems, casting solutions, and machining solutions. Together, we've taken a design thinking approach to building new products and services, and the collaboration has fostered a more creative culture and a customer-centric mindset throughout the organization.
We wanted to pioneer the smart valve market. And when we went to the customers and we showed them a sacrificial concept of a smart valve, and we asked, what do you think about that? And the customer answered, we don't want your valve to be smart, we want to be smart. Because they thought, if GF now is providing smart valve, then where is my value?
I remember that I was there and actually observing the customers having interviews with them. And I kept thinking stuff like, damn, is this process complicated? Or, wow, this connection is really slow and I wouldn't accept this. And by that, just kind of building a lot of empathy for our customers and seeing the drawbacks of our solutions.
When you work with IDEO, you realize that design thinking is actually a mindset and not at all a rigid process. Cultural change does not happen overnight, but being customer-centric has become a trend within GF. Every time we have more employees who want to make impact and want to apply this design process. And the most interesting is that they are not only from R&D department, but also from marketing. And finally, one of the most interesting stories is our finance department. They came to me asking for support. How could they redesign their internal tools and internal reports to being more user-centric?
Colleagues all over the world started to change. You can see it, for example, they all have design thinking, project rooms everywhere whenever we visit sites. They have mixed teams, you see them, they are proud to show these kind of results, fail often to succeed fast. That's a little bit the idea, and they dare to do so, and also the management is really fostering and encouraging people to do so.
But of course, when you have so many employees, it's like a big boat where you want to change direction, right? You need to work on it, on a step-by-step basis. But I think that if we persevere long enough, confidence that design thinking will help GF to differentiate itself even more than today and master the challenges ahead.
Okay.
So I'll continue from my slide, I guess.
If you want, yeah.
Okay. So as you can see in here that it's a mindset. So it's a large industrial company that and you heard many times about empathy and customer centric and not being a rigid experience. So here, if you're a startup today and you're thinking about what we discussed just now, you need to remember that experience is one thing, but the design that we are talking about here. So, okay. So design thinking, it's what you need to be applied on experiences and other products. So, and this is where design is made. So if you speak, when you say only experience without putting the design before that, it doesn't complement what I'm discussing here today. This is why design experience is that what we are currently discussing. So it should be human-centric. It should be customer-centric when we say human-centric, and it should create long-lasting value to your customers or users. So we're going back here on the core thing about creating value, and values are created based on needs, are not based. So it's everything. We need to go backwards, right? So you need to understand the needs and then you build the product, not you build the product, then you test it. You will waste a lot of money here and you'll go nowhere actually. When you exercise experience design, when you want to apply it in your company, in a larger organizations, I suggest you work with the company to take you through the process. It's not something that you can maybe learn it alone. This is like, because here we're talking about organizational change, and this is something much more complex. But when you're a startup here, it's a bit different. You need to first prioritize before anything else your customer needs and be comfortable in modifying the design on a regular basis before investing major amount of money. I did a big mistake myself in the beginning. I created a product. I didn't have enough information, but some information. I put in $30,000, $40,000 myself on building the product, and then nobody bought it. So the reason why I think I was too fast on building the product. But the second experience I did, it literally cost me $300 to test a product, and it took me another $5,000 to iterate, and then I did about $300,000 in a year time on this particular business. And then COVID came and I had to change the business again. So if I can show you the difference between both, is that when you prioritize human needs, this is, guys, at the end, people are buying the products, right? I mean, you need to understand people. I mean, we're in a people's business, whatever you're doing, even if you're building the best technology on earth, at the end, the user is a human being. So if you do not understand human beings, I think try to find a partner who understands people and work with them. Let them help you achieve that. And don't rush into the product. Take your time. Human beings are still here. We have 7-8 billion people on earth. So don't worry, you will always find a problem to solve. And the solutions will keep on evolving with time. And especially these days, with all these uncertainties around us, the ones that are winning are the ones who understand people and applying their technology and products based on their needs. And don't be restricted with the form of the experience you are designing. Okay, so don't say, I've been always doing things tangible or physical, I will not do online. If your users, they want to go online, you cannot block them or try to spend hours convincing them that this is wrong. If they want to change it because for various reasons, you need to let go of your 20, 30 years of experience and start to learn about what does that mean to change your business model. And you need to always focus on is not what you are creating, why you are creating it. So what you're creating is not important as much as why you're doing it, because your sustainability and the way it is sustainable, your business will always go about why you're doing it. Once you understand why you're doing it, the what will become not that important because it will be in front of you anyway. So this is what I can say when you are doing it. So again, as Etienne said, it's a mindset, it's a way of thinking, and then you apply the process along the way. So on my last 2 points on the subject, emphasize with your users to design, map, test the experience without cost if possible, like I just said, as iteration can be a long process. So one-time iteration or changing, it doesn't mean you solved it. You may end up iterating it like 7, 8, 10 times until people start. And this process might take 3, 4 years. This is why sometimes people, they fail fast in their business, and actually they fail backwards, not forward, because they spend all their cash. This is why sometimes failure is bad when you spend a lot of money. So the cost of failure is bad. So this is why when you want to fail good, fail forward, learn, but be careful with your money. This is all I can say. Be very, very careful. Your money is actually your oxygen, to maintain your business. Meet with your users, about 10, 20 of them, spend a lot of time, record the conversation if they accept. Some people, they actually use video just to test their emotions. Some people are very knowledgeable, because in design thinking, you have a lot of psychologists that work in this business as well, because psychology is not about only patients. Sometimes psychology is about understanding people. And this is why now you see more and more psychologists entering into the startup universe, because we need more people who understand people. Yeah. And then how you can be an active listener to emphasize, to capture their needs of the users, not what they want, as it can change. So what I want, by the time you build, as Steve Jobs said, I may want something else. What you need to understand is their need. Their need is sincere. Their wants, it could be, I don't know, could be now and later on, they can change what they want. So this is why we don't build businesses on wants, we build it on needs. So this is what I need to say on the experience design. Please hold on with me one more slide before we jump on your questions. So now, always Etienne loves this part of happy entrepreneurs. Okay, so the idea is to be happy. It's not the idea to build business, it's the idea to be happy, actually. If building business makes you happy, then do it. If being an employee makes you happy, then be an employee. If not working makes you happy, I don't know what to tell you about that. But the idea of anything we're building here is to build happiness in us, because when we're happy, we become better innovators and more successful. So to do that, you need to build 3 things in you. You need to have humility, to accept being wrong, to accept to learn. You need to have compassion with yourself to avoid burnouts. I mean, I was a bit stupid here. I burned out 2 times. I mean, how stupid I can be to burn out 2 times in my life. I didn't know. Success means a lot, had a lot of importance in my life. But I think I miscalculated the consequences when you don't look after yourself, and definitely commitment. Commitment, actually, it's where you hold on when everything collapses in front of you, but you still believe in what you are building. These are, I think, the most 3 important things I can share with you today is humility, because through humility, you become a better person, actually, and you become more approachable with people. Number 2, money is a tool. Remember that. There is no entrepreneur, as far as I know. They build businesses to make money. They want money to build bigger businesses, yes. But their objective is actually to create value, to solve problems, to build businesses, or I don't know, whatever, it's a business or no business. The point is for them is to create the value, solve an important problem, and they need money in order to, instead of impacting 100 people, I want to impact 100 million people. So can I do that? I need money and I need resources, because if I want to bring the best people to work with me, I need to have money available. The point number 3, so here, doing what you love goes back always about understanding what does this mean. For many people, they don't know what does it mean doing what you love. And this is where I think, if you know about Ikigai, this is a nice process of thoughts that you can really work on. There are a lot of YouTube videos about a lot of mentors giving an explanation about how you do something that you love in your life and how to live from it. And then number 3, enjoy the process and be comfortable with not knowing and learning. The whole process, you're going to be most of the time surprised by new knowledge. Every time. The minute you block your mind on new knowledge, you are the loser. So this is so important, and you need to be patient here because the process is long. And the number 4, take distance from your work from time to time. Don't listen to those, I don't know if you guys are on TikTok or on Instagram. You hear a lot of people saying you need to work 24/7, putting Elon Musk as an example and so on. Not everybody should be an Elon Musk. Not everybody should be Steve Jobs. I mean, the world doesn't work on Steve Jobs and Gates. There are millions of entrepreneurs that making millions of solutions around the world, and not everybody is multi-billionaire. The point here is to work smart. Working hard times is over. It was during the 3rd industrial age. Now we have technology that is helping us a lot. And we have a lot of knowledge as well along the way about understanding ourselves, our mind. But to do that, you need to have your health in place. You have good relationship at home with your wife, with your partner, with your kids, with your friends. Because if those are missed, it's going to impact the delivery of your work because you will not be happy. Being an entrepreneur, it doesn't mean you should be a sad person or you should be under, I mean, you know, like some people, they think about entrepreneurship being as if you're going to jail or you're going to be beaten up all the, no, actually it's not like that. You need to love that and you need to love what you're doing. And this is what is the most important part of entrepreneurship. If you're going to see entrepreneurship as a mean of, I need to work 24/7. I want to prevent myself from living. No, guys, this is not entrepreneurship. This is different type of thinking about a different world, in my opinion, at least. Now I work 6-7 hours a day. I don't work like when I was an employee, 12 hours. I am way much more productive and more efficient than I was before because I'm looking after myself, looking after my mind, and I have amazing discipline when I start my day and end my day. So this is all I have to tell you. I think those are a bit more repetition, but you need to remember to rest and remember that building a business takes 5 to 10 years. Okay. So don't start a business saying why it's not working next year. It will take time. You need to think about the macro all the time, not the micro. Yes, you need to be fast in modifying what you're doing. Yes. But building a business is a journey, 5 years, 10 years. So if you are midway somewhere, 2 years, and you're being nervous why it's not working, it's okay. It's okay. 2 years, it not be the time, maybe 5 years is the time. Maybe you are very bold in your approach about the solution you're solving, and this demands more time from you. So it depends. If you're building a business to serve 100 million people, you need 10 years. If you're doing a business to serve 3-4 people, maybe in 1 year you can do it. So it actually depends what you're doing and what your objectives are. And this is what I always, and this is what I've learned from HSA as well, align your economic goals with doing good. This is the best thing I've learned, the best takeaway that changed my life actually. And I can never thank HSA the amount of hours and days I explained everybody about the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Be purpose-driven and profitable too, but be purpose-driven first, because we need more human beings on earth who think about other human beings. And trust me, when you do that, there is so much abundance everywhere. And invest in yourself and in knowledge and build good habits and be a great and compassionate listener. This is where you can build your empathy actually on the last point. This is all I have to say, and now we're open to questions.
Thank you so much, Ara. So it was more than a conference about experience design, because it's always about sharing a philosophy of life, and you are definitely an inspiring entrepreneur, and it's all about the quest for your ikigai, become who you are. I seldom saw such a passionate series of questions and reactions. If you can look at them, about the pros and the cons of processing, empathy, and some participants said, yeah, but psychology, it's also processes. It's not only bullshit, it's structured, and it has to be structured. And so can you pick up a few elements? We probably will not have time to answer all of them, but thanks again. Tanya, do you want to react directly? No? No. Okay,
you're unmuted, Tanya. Did you want to say something?
Or perhaps her daughter wanted to say something. Okay, Ara, could you pick up a few questions where you really want to react?
So I just want to speak about process 1 minute. I just don't want to keep the empathy word very open like this. Empathy, when you're capturing the data, it's about capturing data, right? So empathy is you need to, I'm not talking about sympathy, I'm talking about the empathy. I'm talking about when I sit with someone and I listen from them about what their needs are, I want to listen with having human-to-human connection on that. Now, I'm not a psychologist to comment on what Tanya was saying, but at the end of the day, when you're doing the empathy exercise to build your insight, you need to bring this data in front of you. And you need to have some people with you who are working in your company to analyze this data. And to analyze data, there are processes to analyze those things. Okay, so everything, as I mentioned, it has processes, but what we're talking about, the type of mindset you have to address user needs. You cannot simply send in a survey, for God's sake, to bring data. I mean, how would you know what they are saying is correct? Even if you make surveys with millions of people, at the end of the day, what matters is when you sit with them and you talk to them. You saw the George Fisher CEO was talking about when they meet with their customers, how much they get value. Your customers are spending maybe $2 with you or $100,000. They deserve your time. They deserve for you to listen what they're facing. When you're driving your car, when you get frustrated about particular thing, you need to maybe the car company talk to you about why you get so angry. Angry, to understand your frustration, comes under empathy as well, because those things you cannot actually write them and to understand why you're frustrated. So definitely everything comes with a process. At the end of the day, but you need to have the mindset of design first, okay? This is from the way we're building our business. So no woman in the room in this video. I don't know what, Brenda, you mean by that. Let's get among the team, ladies. I was involved in training. So guys, see, you may be on my LinkedIn page. You may send me any question you want or send it to Cheryl. I'm happy to answer anything you want. But if anybody of you have any question or anything that you want me to clarify here, but I'm so happy the word empathy fixed in this meeting. And to be honest, this is something I'm very happy with, which will make people now go and research about what I'm saying is correct or no. And I will be very happy to find out that, I don't think I'll be happy, but I don't think I did my research well on that. And I understood that the less I empathize with the users, the wrong products I build. So, and let's keep it human, guys. Thank you, Carla. I mean, regardless whether it's technology or not, we invest in humanity today and we innovate for humanity. We don't innovate for I don't know who. So, and my business objective is about improving people's lives. So everything I do is about people. So this is why my conversation maybe is more focused on that end. You can be biased even in the questions. You might unintentionally direct people into answering questions you think are good. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the questions before. I'm just looking at them now. So any question, anybody want to say something? Okay, so on Danielle, it's very important question on the subjectivity and manipulation. Again, it comes back on the person who's doing it. If I want to force my product for people to buy it, I can tell you any bullshit, right? And I can believe that and I can sell that. So it doesn't mean it's going to work, right? So it's important our intentions when we are building a product, right? So it's so important that we have the right people interviewing. And most of the time, it shouldn't be from the company. If I may say, you shouldn't have people biased to the product or biased to the idea going interviewing people. You need to disconnect here. So it's better to hire a company. If you don't have the money, maybe you need to find the freelancer or someone to help you with the process, or someone who understands the subject. How do you balance the improvement needed, its investment versus return in sales?
There was a question about data also, because there is a qualitative process, obviously, but then it has also to be backed by data. And so to what extent do you recommend to merge qualitative and quantitative approaches?
I think, Etienne, this is something I learned from you with our, when we did the work with you earlier on the qualitative, I think, and quantitative data. It's something actually depends on the quality of the data you have first. So, data collection, it can be sometimes misleading if you're asking the wrong questions. So I really don't know. So questions when it comes about data, it's very, very, even when somebody was telling yesterday, I was hearing a conversation about AI, okay? So imagine AI today can give you any kind of a relation of data that doesn't make any sense. So it's so important in my belief that you need to build data on qualitative, not quantitative only. Quantitative is important, but you need qualitative to make sure that there is some sort of balance in what you're doing. Whether you're doing roundtables or doing focus groups or doing one-on-ones, the point is that you need to have a good ratio of at least 10% or 20%. Let's say if you have data for 200 people you have sent questionnaires to, it's important to have at least 10, 15 people you talk to from various groups. So for example, you cannot focus on one category of people to get their opinion, because you need to have some diversity when you are doing the research. Again, it depends on the product. Again, it depends on the problem you're solving. So some questions here, it demand, for example, on data, maybe we can spend 5 hours talking about data. It's a very interesting subject. It cannot be, I think, given in just 1 minute, but I believe that data should be both qualitative and quantitative, and your questions, it should be extremely well prepared. And when you are meeting people, you need to be prepared for that meeting, even yourself, because if you upset people, they are not going to give you any information.
There is also a question between having an impact. So sometimes it's not necessarily a need, but what can you elaborate on that? Because at the end of the day, of course, we understand that you want to have an impact, a social one or an environmental one, but is it
or economic?
Yeah. But is it in line with this process of processing empathy, or is it something different?
The minute we do something which is human-centered, automatically going to make an impact towards people's lives, right? And when I say an impact, I don't mean, say today, of course, everything, it has double-sided sword, right? Everything that can make an impact can do the other thing as well. Think about today, the Zoom, right? You can tell me this Zoom technology, did it improve our lives and made an impact? Of course it did. At least I can talk to my parents, and I don't live in Lebanon, for example. I can talk to them whenever I want. So yes, it made an impact to connect me with my parents, and it gives me this emotional experience as well, that I can see them. If I compare myself 30 years ago, I used to just send letters to them. So it was a bit different. So as you can see, when you build a business with an impact, usually it's it's better for the business because it has a longevity and you put a lot of yourself in the business as well. But when you do it only for money, you will never succeed, literally, because money will run away from you because you need to create value first. And money follows value, not value follows money. It doesn't work like that. So you build the value and money will come and will come abundantly eventually. But if your focus is only money, I think you need to rethink the way you're thinking about why you want to open a business. This is what I've learned over time.
Thanks, Ara. There is also a question of Akira, but I'm not sure to understand. So most IT companies hire a single person for both UI and UI job role. Is it the
sorry? So
yeah,
I might explain what I want to say. So thank you for the very informative webinars. Yeah, so I'm from Japan. So I'm working in the IT company right now. So I think that I'm sorry for the typing miss. I mean the UI and the UX. So I think in the IT company, UX is mean the user experience, right? So, so I'm sorry. So the user experience, I think it's a little bit similar with what we are talking about, the design experience design. But I think in most of the Silicon Valley companies, such as Google or Amazon. So right now I'm working for the Pinterest, and we have only the same role for the UI and the UX. And the UI, I think it means that the people and the computer or the people and the machine, the reaction between the human and the machine. But the UX is, as today's we are discussing, is about the human-centric thing, I think. So do you think that use the same people for working both for UI or UX is a good way for the user design, or it's just a mistake in the IT industry? So this is my question.
Thank you.
From my point of view, when you speak about user experience and you are focused only on technology, and your business is based on that, I think there is an element missing in the business. We are working with a coding company, coding school soon, they have a lot of coders, but they are missing a lot the 360 experience about the user experience, about the design aspect of the product, because they understand the way the touch points between how the users are engaging with the technology, but they lack understanding about the problems that they are facing while using it. Because we're looking at mainly from relationship between the device and the user. We're not looking at the other aspect that is defining their decisions. Because everything is about, why I should use your technology, not somebody else's technology. Yes, user experience will make it more accessible, faster, easier. I understand that. But experience design is beyond that. So if you want not to be like everyone else, you need to have a bit of diversity in the company. In the past, I used to think about, I need like-minded people in my life. And somebody said it's wrong because you become so biased and you create silos. The world needs diverse and like-minded. Otherwise, how would we learn? So I believe that it will be interesting if your team will find someone who is not a tech person or who works in the same business line and think about more a design person who has more connection with the human needs and how this can be integrated to technology. When Steve Jobs when he said that he just wants the technology and us to be as one, he looked at technology in a different way than everyone was looking at it. At the end, he didn't create a software, he created a brand. And then you come into the brand. So for example, you are building a technology, but nobody knows about you, right? So then you create this emotional thing about the brand creation. So people can start to have more connection with you, because it's not only about the product, what I'm trying to explain. Building a business is beyond the product, because you need to build the brand and people need to understand the brand and they need to make some sort of connection with the brand. And then why do you just think about it. Why do you use Apple and we don't use Samsung, knowing that Samsung technology is better than Apple? Because we like the brand. Because people like to show off, I'm using Apple, although we are paying 30, 40% more. This is where emotion comes in. This is very emotional, actually, and very psychological, the brand. And it was very smart. Like Nike, they have built brands, they didn't build products. So this is what I'm trying here to give a little bit of more an holistic approach when design is involved.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ara. One last question or comments on comments. I see that seeing you conducted a research in empathy, happiness, and creativity. That may be the topic of a next conference. I think, Cheryl, we should organize something like that about trust, about all these soft skills, about happiness, about the quest for Ikigai. But Ara, could you pick up a last question and summarize, because we now have to conclude. Even if I never saw such a lively discussion on the chat.
I'd like to take Atif, if you can, Atif, share your screen if you're here, about money is a byproduct of value.
Yeah, so it was just a comment, money a byproduct of value, but it's on the discussion thread. Yeah, that's a nice statement.
Yeah, so I just want to speak a little bit about, so before you strategize about a new product, you have to reshape the brand. Actually, there is not a definitive answer whether it's about reshaping the brand or no. Nobody, I mean, the thing is about design is so important, you don't assume things, okay? So you ask questions, you create hypotheses, and you check with your users whether it is a brand that you need to change. Because, you know, rebranding a company, it's a very expensive process to go through. Creating a new product, you can create new product without need to strategize your company. It's, to rebrand your business. Here again, you need to go deep dive about how your users are engaging or interacting with your product. What is their journey here? You might do a lot of how might we answers. You need to ask the difficult questions. You need to actually confront with your fears. And trust me, Brenda, most people, they know what they're doing wrong. Most of the time, we all know what we're doing wrong, but the problem is we are afraid to confront that. I think, and this comes back again on the subject of Etienne, it's on soft skills. You need to learn how to face your fears. And as an entrepreneur, you constantly are afraid in a way or another on what could happen. The uncertainty kills us. So the question here is about, we need to first understand what are those needs, accept them, regardless how hard they are, and work with our team to shape that. And this is all I can say on because everything I do actually is very human to human. This is why, and I don't come up with a conclusion immediately, because it cost me a lot of money in the past. And I would not tell anybody to do that, because it's going to cost you a lot of money too. Sometimes you might be lucky, but most of the time, everything which is data-driven, human-centered, the odds that you are going to succeed is very high.
Okay, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. Thank you, Ara. It's always a great moment of philosophy with you. Also, thank you, Cheryl, for co-hosting this conference. There will be other ones this year, but it's always a pleasure to interact with Ara. And thank you, all of you, for your attendance and this absolutely lively exchange. I'm looking forward to seeing you and hearing you soon, and seeing you in real life, because there will soon be a MSIE event, Cheryl, in a Hôtel Particulier in Paris, and I'll be there. Of course, I'll be there.
I'm coming.
Can't wait to see you all.
Thank you so much. See you.
Thank you, Ara. Etienne, take care. Thank you, everyone.